Who doesn't love a good locked room mystery? In this video, I'm going to give you 30 ideas for different environments that would make fantastic locked rooms so that you can write a story that's sure to confound your readers. First, let's define what a locked room actually is. It doesn't have to be a room, and it doesn't actually have to be locked. All you need is an area that characters can't enter or leave without being seen. Once we understand this, we can see that a vehicle, such as a train car or an elevator car, makes a perfect locked room. Heck, an actual car would work just as well. Imagine a locked room mystery in which two characters enter the back of a limousine. When the chauffeur opens the door at the end of the trip, one of them is dead. The obvious conclusion is that the passenger who lived is the murderer, but in a locked room mystery, we discover that something else happened to cause the other passenger's death. While we're talking about vehicles, a private plane would make a fantastic locked room mystery, especially, I think, if the victim was the pilot. A traffic helicopter could also work nicely. Or how about a horse-drawn carriage, or maybe even Cinderella's carriage? Perhaps the prince and Cinderella go off on their honeymoon, but only one reaches the destination alive. But vehicles are hardly the only options for locked room mysteries. Remember, all we need is an area that no one can enter or leave without being seen. That allows us to consider areas that are out in the open, such as a gazebo in full view of the public, a blind alley, or even a theater stage during the middle of a performance. We could have our victim die while in a public hot tub, or perhaps while piloting a paddle boat in the middle of a lake. We can also consider rooms with only one obvious exit, such as a sauna at the gym, a recording studio, a cage at the zoo, a hospital room, or maybe even a surgical theater. In this category, we might also consider panic rooms, tree houses, and a private box at the opera. And what about areas where no one is allowed to leave? You could write a fantastic locked room mystery that took place in a jury deliberation room, in a jail cell, or in a lab that was locked down for containment purposes. Then we might consider areas where leaving is physically impossible, such as a force field in a paranormal mystery or a force field in a science fiction mystery. And while we're talking about sci-fi, a murder that took place during a spacewalk would make a stellar locked room mystery. Since no one can enter or leave the void of space without being noticed, it definitely counts as a locked room. Or better yet, what about a locked room mystery that took place on the moon? There are only ever two people on the moon, the mission commander and the lunar module pilot. That leaves one to be our victim and one to be the obvious culprit, who will ultimately be proved innocent. Lastly, let's think about areas that are too small to allow more than one character to enter. A sensory deprivation pod would make a fascinating locked room mystery, or maybe a box used during a magician's disappearing act. If you want to take one of these ideas and run with it, your next step might be to watch my video on the 4 possible solutions to locked room mysteries. In that video, I had a ton of fun breaking down the ingenious ways your villain can carry out these crimes. We talked about time-shifted murders, extra people murders, gains access murders, and something I like to call exterior forces.